Hello and welcome to our Final Fantasy Commander Precon Showcase. Each deck is built around a different game, and for this one, we'll be covering Final Fantasy X, but make sure to check out the other videos on FF6, 7, and 14. Hello and welcome everybody, my name is Jimmy Wong, and today I'm joined by my co-host of the Command Zone podcast and Game Nights, Josh Lee Kwai.
How's it?
Today, the worlds of Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy are colliding because we will be revealing the cards from the Commander deck, Counter Blitz, which is a part of Magic the Gathering's latest Universes Beyond set, Final Fantasy. Now, this deck is all about the game Final Fantasy X. And Josh, today you're joining us not just as a Magic player, but also a Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah, true story, Jimmy. The very first video game that I ever bought was a Final Fantasy game.
Wow.
My gamer DNA is just tied to both Magic and Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Of course, I went on later to play hundreds of hours of Final Fantasy X, and this crossover, I'm just so excited about it. It just seems like the perfect pairing.
All right, well, tell us about the story of Final Fantasy X.
Sure. Final Fantasy X follows a character named Tidus, and he's a star athlete. But he gets thrown out of his normal life and into this war-torn world called Spira. On that world, he meets his summoner named Yuna, and he joins her party of guardians, and they're taking on this monstrous entity called Sin.
All right, let's start things off with the star athlete himself. He's the face commander of the deck. Here is Tidus, Yuna's guardian. Tidus is a 3/3 human warrior who costs 3 mana to cast. His card has the ability to move a counter between 2 different creatures you control each combat. Additionally, Tidus has the Cheer ability, where whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate.
Ooh, all right, I'm liking everything that I'm seeing already. Just being able to move the counters around on your creatures, get sort of tricky with it. And then in the game, Tidus has a Cheer ability. It buffs the team, which is exactly what he's gonna do on your battlefield, right? Give your creatures with counters the ability to draw cards when they deal combat damage. You know I like drawing cards.
Oh yeah. And that proliferate is so powerful too, letting you add counters across the board and increase them at the same time.
So powerful.
Yeah, that seems just so perfect for this deck, which is all about that counter synergy. And if you're gonna be putting counters on creatures, well, you gotta have creatures on the battlefield.
That's true.
So let's see some of the other characters from Final Fantasy X that appear in the deck. The playable characters of Final Fantasy X are a big part of the Counter Blitz deck. The backup commander is Yuna, Grand Summoner, who can provide valuable mana and power up your creatures. Joining Yuna are her guardians, like Auron, who grows larger and exiles your opponent's creatures whenever he attacks with his Shooting Star ability, or Riku, who can provide your team with unblockability and even steal counters from your opponents. Then there's Kamari, Valiant Guardian, whose Ronzo Rage ability lets him take on the form of creatures your opponents control. And Waka, Devoted Guardian, who can smash troublesome artifacts while supporting the team in his role as Blitzball captain.
Oh, it's bringing back so many memories for me, Jimmy.
Oh my gosh.
We have to start by talking about Yuna, Grand Summoner,
Yep.
because she's so important to the story of this game. And I think she's really important to this deck because she, first of all, puts counters onto creatures.
Gets the engine going.
Yeah, exactly. So then Tidus can move them around and start giving bonuses. But also that second ability. One of the challenges with decks of this type are that you invest a lot of time and resources to making your creatures bigger by putting counters and stuff on them. But then your opponent removes it and that all can go away.
Okay.
But that second ability that she has allows you to keep those counters around and maintain your advantage.
Yeah, love that.
We also need to talk about Auron.
Oh yeah.
Who is just an amazing character, just amazing look, just has
So
the total
cool.
vibe. Yeah, has the huge sword, the sunglasses, the high collar. Why do you
there
think
you
I
go.
wore this jacket? Yeah, and in the game, Auron has an overdrive ability that is called Shooting Star and just yeets an enemy like totally out of the battle. And that's what he does in Magic, right? You attack and you just exile one of their things. And every time you attack, you can do that.
Yeah, and I love how he has vigilance as well. So he's great both as an attacker and on defense.
I mean, if you have Auron out and you're just attacking every turn and removing your opponent's best thing every turn, like how do they beat that? It's so strong.
So you've got Yuna, Tidus, and their team of guardians, but what exactly are they guarding Yuna from? Let's check out some of the opposing forces that show up in the deck. The antagonists of Final Fantasy X take the form of powerful creatures in Counter Blitz to support the deck's counter-based strategy. At the forefront is Sin, Unending Cataclysm, a fearsome Leviathan who steals counters from the entire board to grow larger and stronger himself. And even when he's destroyed, he'll go back into your library to re-emerge when your opponents least expect it.
All right. So Sin is this world-ending threat.
Yep.
It never dies. It just keeps coming back. It is just this huge monstrous thing that they have to fight against. And when Sin comes down in Magic, you're going to take a bunch of the counters that you've got, basically double and put them on this thing. But also, you get to pick off all the counters your opponents have put on their stuff.
Wow.
Right? You steal all that stuff, and mix in even bigger. And the great thing, like we talked about before, is if this dies, you take all those counters, you put those counters on something else, have still a big threat around it, but also Sin's going to go into your library, come out at another point, so it's just like the game where it's just like you don't know.
Wow.
Sin could come out at any time and just cause a huge amount of disruption.
That feels so thematic. And also in Magic, we call that a win con in the business.
Yeah, all right, and then let's talk about Maester Seymour. I really like this card in this deck because even at just base power 1, it will put a counter on something every single turn. And then you do that a couple of times and you activate that monstrous ability. And now Seymour gets bigger and is putting more counters on stuff every single turn. And with Tidus, you're kind of moving that around. You're gonna win that game pretty fast.
Yeah, all of these synergies, right, are about really getting counters on creatures. And this creature is great in the early game and even better in the late game. So obviously things that scale as the game progresses, really powerful stuff. All right, we've got our heroes lined up. We know what they're up against. Now let's check out some of the game mechanics, story moments, and items from Final Fantasy X that have made their way onto Magic cards. The Counter Blitz deck brings to life the iconic story moments and game mechanics of Final Fantasy X, like Sphere Grid, which turns the game's progression system into an enchantment that can empower your creatures with counters and abilities. Or Blitzball Stadium, which evokes Final Fantasy X's iconic minigame. Then there are powerful summons like Valifor, the Magus Sisters, or Yojimbo. These creatures may not stick around forever, but they'll make a big impact on the board every turn. And even powerful cards from Magic's past return with stunning new art, highlighting key moments and characters that every Final Fantasy X fan will remember.
All right, I think we got to start off with Sphere Grid, right?
This is incredible. This is like the level up system, right?
Yeah, there's a level up system
so
from
cheeky.
the game. As a player, you spend a lot of time just sort of deciding like which paths you want to go down, which abilities you want to get, and things like that. And I just love that it is included here as a card that you can play. And
So
feels like
cool.
the beating heart of this deck, right? Like it's doing everything you want. It's messing around with counters, giving abilities.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I think any RPG player that plays Magic and has this as a card they play is instantly gonna feel that connection to it.
The other thing that really caught my eye was Summon Valifor. Let's talk about how sagas sort of work in Magic. You start on that first chapter and every turn you get another counter, and when it gets to the end, you sacrifice it.
Yeah.
And this is the first time in Magic that we're seeing sagas as creatures. And that works just like summons do in Final Fantasy, where you have this creature and it helps you out, but it's sort of temporary.
I love the design.
This one particularly powerful because it bounces something from all of your opponents and then it's done something down. But even better because Tidus moves counters around, right? So you take the counter off the saga, you want to bounce something from your opponents every single turn, you could probably do it. You want to stun something down forever, you could probably do it.
And that definitely is one of those really tricky and fun ways to play this deck. So it just seems like the more you play it, the more you get a handle on how to power up those summons, and then boom, you're off to the races.
Before we go,
Yeah.
I do really want to talk about Blitzball Stadium.
Blitzball, that's right.
You know, Final Fantasy as a franchise is just known for the mini games.
Yeah.
And I fell down this huge rabbit hole when I played Final Fantasy X, where I was, I probably spent like 100 hours just playing Blitzball. Yeah, just like crafting the perfect team, trying to have, my characters steal all the perfect abilities so that I could win the tournament and dominate. And let me tell you, like I had unbeatable Blitzball team.
Incredible.
Like I'll go against anybody.
So how does it show up on the card?
Yeah, so in the card, I really love the flavor of it because it helps your creature get in there so it can draw those cards, but it's also very flavorful because giving counters to something is like passing it the ball. Right?
Oh, okay, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, when I think of Final Fantasy X, I really think of Blitzball a lot. Of course, I did go on to beat the game, but winning the Blitzball tournament, that was my true accomplishment.
I mean, you might be the best Blitzball player in the world.
I appreciate you saying that, Jimmy, and I agree.
Another thing I love about this deck is that even the reprints feature just some really iconic moments from the game, right?
Yeah, one I really love is Endless Detour, because this is a moment where Riku, one of the party members, is scared of lightning and is having the whole party like hide inside so they don't go down into the lightning. And she wants it to be an endless detour, like let's never go out there, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that's funny.
Not while there's lightning anyway.
I love that.
Yeah, and the other one is Promise of Loyalty, where if you played the game and you look at the art, I won't give anything away, but it's an iconic moment for sure.
Very cool. You're definitely not going to miss out on the brand new Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy Commander deck, Counter Blitz, featuring characters from Final Fantasy X like Tidus, Yuna's Guardian, Auron, and the unstoppable Sin, Unending Cataclysm.
I love all the summon characters like Yojimbo and Valifor. It is sweet using the saga design in that way. They feel right out of the game.
But I know which card you're going to be most excited for.
Blitzball Stadium, baby! This has always been the dream, getting to play Blitzball and Magic at the same time. Think fast, Jimmy.
Whoa.
You gotta have hands if you're gonna play Blitzball.
There you go. All right, well, make sure you check out the link in the description to see the rest of the cards and pick up this deck yourself when it hits stores on June 13th. Let's go!